Good morning, everybody. My name is Maggie Walsh, and I'm here from the Bergen Trauma Training Center YouTube channel. I'm here for another knowledge drop regarding New Jersey's initiative around adverse childhood experiences, also known as ACES. So I'm here to really tell you about the initiative and a little bit about what it's all about. So let's jump right into it. New Jersey ACES Collaborative developed a blueprint for expanding public awareness on ACEs, engaging communities and stakeholders to lead and contribute to the ACEs work, coordinate already existing ACEs initiatives within the state, county, and local government, and moving New Jersey to becoming a trauma-informed, healing-focused state. Before we dive into some of the details of the initiative, I do want to give a quick overview of what we call ACEs and why we are really talking about them. So ACEs stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. Adverse childhood experiences are traumatic events that occur in childhood about up to ages of 17 years old, such as experiencing violence, abuse, neglect, witnessing violence in the home, and having a family member attempt or die by suicide. Also included in adverse childhood experiences are aspects of the childhood environment. So thinking about what sort of things can undermine their sense of safety, their sense of stability, and bonding, such as growing up in a household with substance misuse, growing up in a household with mental health problems, or an instability due to parental separation. The ACEs study was originally done in the late 1990s, and as part of the initial study, more than 17,000 members in Southern California were given physical exams and asked to complete confidential surveys regarding childhood experiences and their current mental health and well-being. And what the study found is a correlation between adverse childhood experiences and trauma in childhood and poor outcomes into adulthood. So this was very foundational in terms of talking about trauma and talking about adverse childhood experiences, because really what the study highlighted was that there are things that occur in our youth's childhood, and when they're not addressed and they're not properly healed and navigated through, they can really impact adult functioning. So what did the study show? What we did see is that 1 in 4 were exposed to 2 categories of ACEs. 1 in 16 were exposed to 4 categories of ACEs. 22% were sexually abused as children. 66% of women experienced abuse, violence, or family strife in childhood. And the study showed that women were 50% more likely than men to have experienced 5 or more ACEs. And as I mentioned some of the ACEs in the beginning of the presentation, on the right-hand side of the slide, you can see some of the examples of what was included in this ACEs study: substance abuse, psychological, physical, sexual abuse, emotional and physical neglect, battered mother, mental illness. So these are the common ACEs that they looked at. What's interesting, and a fact that I would love to share with you, is that in 2016, there was a report released by the Child and Adolescent Health Measurement Initiative, and it was estimated that 40% of children in New Jersey have experienced at least one ACE, and 18 experience multiple ACEs. So there's a lot of research and there's a lot of evidence on why are we even talking about this? Why is this so important to provide even a whole statewide initiative to focus on these adverse childhood experiences? Well, what we do know is that ACEs can have a long-lasting impact that affects people's social, emotional, and mental health. Traumatic events in childhood can be emotionally painful or distressing and can have effects that persist for years. Factors such as the nature and the frequency of the traumatic event, prior history to trauma, availability of family and community supports, all of those things can shape a child's response to trauma and shape how they navigate that trauma. In addition, we do know that positive interactions can help mitigate those effects and help individuals and families to thrive. Those positive interactions can include connections with peers and family, different events, therapies, and so much more. The key here is that we have the ability to make an impact and to help those who have experienced ACEs, in addition to bringing a layer of resilience and prevention. And that's what New Jersey is doing here with their ACES initiative. They've paired with the Office of Resilience and really started developing a plan to target ACEs, prevent ACEs, and mitigate the effects of them. So what does that all mean? This is a little bit of a breakdown of the New Jersey's action plan to end adverse childhood experiences. So it's composed of 5 strategies or 5 components. The first is to raise awareness of ACEs. So this effort really aims to increase knowledge statewide about preventing ACEs and creating resilience through educating and empowering New Jersey residents. In order to make trauma-informed, healing-centered changes to our behaviors, to our practices, and to our strategies, New Jersey residents have to be aware of the science behind healthy development and understand the steps that they themselves can take to prevent and address the negative effects of ACEs. So the first part is New Jersey's focus on raising awareness of what adverse childhood experiences are and how they can impact overall development. The second component is to provide ACEs trainings. So in order for us to increase awareness, New Jersey also aims to increase accessibility to help inform and educate, and also to provide tools for appropriate trauma-informed responses that families can use. The third piece is to identify and coordinate all ACEs programs and services. So really New Jersey here wants to harness existing ACEs and trauma-informed healing-centered initiatives and approaches, inform public policy, and coordinate the allocation of resources across the state and local government. So we want to harness what already exists and expand on that and enhance it. The fourth piece is to promote ACEs programs and services. And the fifth aspect is to designate New Jersey as a trauma-informed, healing-centered state. So when New Jersey becomes trauma-informed and a healing-centered state, what we're really looking at here is the state's commitment to prevent, to mitigate, and address the impact of ACEs on New Jersey residents and support efforts to increase the resiliency. So when you hear about the New Jersey's initiative and you hear about their plan, these are the 5 components that and strategies that really help to propel the plan forward. And as I mentioned, trauma shapes all of our lives. We've learned through research that positive and loving experiences and relationships can really neutralize the effects of trauma. And in order for New Jersey to be designated as trauma-informed, a healing-centered state, the aim is to utilize trauma-informed care, which is a strength-based approach defined by treating the whole person and considering past trauma and coping skills. And how can we have a holistic approach to healing? And integrated with that trauma-informed state is that healing-centered state, that holistic approach involving culture, spirituality, civic action, collective healing. A healing-centered approach views trauma not simply as an individual or isolated experience, but rather highlights the ways in which trauma and healing are experienced collectively, what that looks like, and how we can help heal collectively as a whole. The initiative is also human-centered. And really what New Jersey wants to focus on is to give voice and perspective to those that are most directly impacted by ACEs. They want to ensure that we're including all stakeholders to talk about comprehensive ways that regarding challenges and also potential solutions. With New Jersey also incorporates trying to ensure racial and ethnic diversity as well within their initiative. If you want to find out more information about the ACEs, you can visit the New Jersey Department of Children and Families. They have great resources on it, and that's where I got all these little snapshots of the different infographics that they have. and it's really helpful for information. They also have a full explanation of the action plan. So I hope that this was helpful for you, because as you know, as the days go on, we're going to be hearing about this more and more, and it's a really incredible opportunity for New Jersey and also for New Jersey residents to really be healers and to really make a difference. So as a reminder, don't forget to follow us on our YouTube page, and I hope you have an awesome day, and thanks for stopping by.